Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel, P.E.I.s Uncovered. For those of you who are here for the first time, and for those of you who have memories like mine, my name is Jim Shephard. I know that because it just came in on a bill. And I am the author of the P.E.I.s Ben Vern detective novel series. Now recently we have embarked on a mission to expose all of the characters in the P.E.I.s series. And recently we did one on Merle Watkins. Today we're going to do one of the most popular and likable characters in the entire series, and that being Edna Struthers. Edna Struthers came onto the scene in the second book of the series, Balthazar, I believe. Yeah. And the reason why she happened is that Breakwater Investigations, the business that Ben Vern had started in Misty Harbor, is a private investigation business, and the boys are extremely good at what they do. And the three things that they do the best is private investigate is number one, of course. The second thing they do is enjoy life to its fullest. And the third thing that they're noted for is the pair of them are slobs. They have a lovely office right downtown across from Alexander Park, and it's a mess. The girls who support them and work with them come in from time to time and have to clean up the office. They can barely get the door open when they get there, and they've complained about it heavily every time. And they finally suggested, look guys, why don't you get somebody in here that can run this business for you? You're good at what you do, but you don't keep proper records. You don't answer telephone calls. You don't do anything that a business does. And you know, you're going to, down the road, you're going to fail if you don't do something about it. So the boys did something about it. They put an ad in the paper. And for the next several days, people were answering the ads, and they weren't meeting up to standards. There was something wrong with each and every one of them. And they got, from every walk of life, somebody came in looking for that job. Nothing seemed to work. One fine morning, Ben showed up for work. He parked his car out front, and before he got to the office, he was confronted by a little old lady on the street who she thought of Ben as a hooligan, the way he acted, the way he responded, and she did everything but clobber him with the umbrella she was carrying at the time. This lady was not to be denied. The joke, of course, fell on her when she got to the office and realized, oh my goodness, this is the guy that I'm applying for a job. The boys had a lot of fun over that, and they were, you know, kind of thinking, do we really want somebody in here like this that, you know, has, you know, we don't have respect for anybody, but we need somebody that's working for us that has respect for us. They knew they weren't getting it from this one, but push came to shove, and Vern finally convinced Ben that it's in our best interest to have somebody like this in the office. Edna, picture this, okay? Edna is 67, 68 years old. She doesn't even reach the 5-foot mark. She comes in around 4'11", but if you ask her, she'll tell you she's 5'2", and that's, you know, that might be because she's often wearing heels. When she's not wearing heels, she's a definite 4'8". She is a very tough broad. Now, though I don't like to use that word, but that's what she is. She's very tough. She takes no BS from anyone, and that includes the boys. In a very short length of time, she managed to turn that office from a veritable pig pen to a thriving business. And it rests entirely on her shoulders, but she didn't do that with ease. It took a lot to get the boys in line. In fact, they're still not in line. She's constantly at them, and you would think that that would grow into a hateful relationship, but it turned into a love-hate relationship. The boys loved her, and she hated to pick up after them, but it worked. Now, Edna came from a background, let me see, she lived out west, and she moved to Misty Harbor about 15 years ago. She got a job working for the senior center doing volunteer work. She loved the job because she loved the people, and the people loved her. But she thought to herself one day, you know, it's volunteer work. I'm not making an awful lot of money. I'm living off my pension. I got to do something. So she saw the ad in the paper and she thought, it's a small business. She's seen it. She's passed by it many times, and she knows that there's two people that run it. How difficult could it be? She had no idea what she was walking into. Once she applied for the job and got the job, she moved in. And then everything changed from that point on. Edna, at 4'8", was known as a fire plug, and she got that title because it didn't matter who she was dealing with. She could deal with people who were mobsters, gangsters, criminals of every sort, and it didn't faze her. She would take them down a peg every time, no matter who they were. And of course, if the biggest mistake you could make in dealing with Edna is to treat her as if she was a 4'8", useless little old lady. If she caught wind that you were doing something like that, look out, look out. I'd rather deal with somebody of mammoth size than somebody at that stature with that attitude. Where did the idea of Edna come from? Well, I tell people this because my own mother, God rest her soul, was like that. She was a very short woman. She was in around the 5-foot mark too, and she terrified anybody that they confronted her. I could tell you stories, and I will tell you stories later about how that woman pulled my butt out of the fire many times, and I loved her to death. Well, she's got Edna in her. Edna's got her in her, one or the other, but nevertheless, it's a lovable relationship for me. The thing about Edna is she's got a heart of gold. She'll do anything for anyone, and she is a spinster. She has a twin sister who has the exact opposite nature of her. Edna, brought up in a religious family, had adopted the morals and ethics of somebody who was not really a churchgoer so much as a very religious type person. You wouldn't want to be in the room with her if you were taking the Lord's name in vain, for one thing, or cursing of any kind. She was very polite unless she was pushed up against the wall, then look out. Her sister, Pearl, who came in, I think she showed up in, let me see, what book would that be? She was in the Brotherhood, yeah. And she was the exact opposite of Edna. She was a troubled child right from the beginning. She raised a lot of hell. She had no respect for anybody, and she would let them know. But she was a fun-loving girl. She had many men in her life, and she loved to brag about that. Edna thought that was shameful, but she was her sister, and there's a story that goes with that. And once you read the Brotherhood, you'll understand more about that. Now, the one thing that Edna is known for is her affection for Big Merle. How that came about is beyond my wildest dreams, and I'm the one that invented it. She like I said, she's a tiny little thing. Merle was a mammoth man, and I think that was the attraction. She loved the great big Scot because of his sheer size, his enormity, and he had the ability to do physically what she wanted herself to be able to do mentally, and that was just to deal with people the way she did. To call her the heart and soul of breakwater investigations would be a gross misunderstatement. Anyway, most of the readers, if not all of the readers that I've talked to, have grown very affectionately close to Edna Struthers. They love her, they love who she is, they love how she deals with the boys, how she deals with other people. Right, well, I guess that's it for Edna Struthers. Keep her in mind, look for her in the next book. And don't forget, if you like this series, hit like, and I thank you, and we'll talk to you next time. Okay, bye-bye.